Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're going to tackle business valuation services. Our sort of jumping off point is this website, businessbrokernews.us,
Mm.
which, kind of hints at why this stuff matters.
Right, the name itself gives a clue.
Exactly. So our mission really is to cut through maybe some of the complexity around it.
Yeah, just get to the heart of it. What does valuing a business actually mean, and why should you, listening, care?
Okay, perfect. So let's start there. Business valuation. Um, in simple terms, what are we really talking about? How do you figure out what a business is worth?
Well, fundamentally, it's about trying to determine a company's economic value. It goes deeper than just adding up the desks and computers, you
Okay,
know?
not just the physical stuff.
No, definitely not. You have to look at its financial health, its performance over time, where it sits in the market.
Nope.
And then there's the trickier stuff, the intangibles, like how strong is the brand? Does it have unique tech or patents? That kind of thing.
Ah, okay. So like a really famous brand name adds value even though you can't touch it.
Precisely. It's a huge factor sometimes, so it's a pretty comprehensive look.
Got it. And thinking about our source again, businessbrokernews.us, well, it strongly suggests this is crucial when businesses change hands, buying or selling.
Oh, absolutely. That's probably the number one reason people get a formal valuation done.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, if you're buying, you need to know if the price is fair.
Right.
You need justification for what you're paying.
And the seller wants to make sure they're getting what it's truly worth.
Exactly. Business brokers, like the name suggests, they live and breathe this stuff. Valuations are central to negotiating those deals.
Okay, so essential if you're in that deal-making space. But
Yeah.
what about someone listening who isn't planning to buy or sell a company anytime soon? Our sort of learner persona. Why is this relevant?
That's a great question. Because even if you're not directly involved, understanding the basics of valuation it's actually a really valuable piece of financial literacy.
How so?
Well, it gives you a window into how financial pros think about value, how they assess worth. It's kind of fundamental to understanding, economics, investing.
Oh, okay. So you start seeing why some companies might be worth more than others in the stock market, for example.
Exactly. You get a feel for what drives value creation. Is it earnings, growth potential, assets? It helps you make sense of the financial news, even.
Right. It's like knowing a bit about how engines work helps you understand cars better,
Yeah.
even if you're never going to fix one yourself.
That's a good analogy, yeah. It gives you context for the wider economic picture.
Okay. Now, putting a hard number on something that feels kind of fluid, like a whole business with brand and potential, that sounds, well, tricky. Is there anything surprising about how this valuation process actually works?
I think what often surprises people is that there isn't just one magic formula. There's no single button you press.
Oh,
No, there are several different accepted methods. Some focus heavily on earnings, others on assets. Some compare the business to similar ones that recently sold.
so you could get different numbers depending on the method.
You absolutely can. And that's not necessarily wrong. It's about understanding why they're different, what assumptions each method makes. That's where the expertise really comes in, choosing the right method or maybe blending them.
Interesting. So it's nuanced, not just plugging numbers into a spreadsheet.
Definitely not. There's an analysis, interpretation, judgment involved.
Okay, let's try and wrap this up then. What's the main takeaway from this deep dive, especially keeping that business broker context in mind?
I'd say the core takeaway is this. Business valuation services are vital tools for figuring out a company's economic worth, especially, yes, for buying and selling.
Right.
But beyond that, just grasping the concepts behind valuation, that gives you really valuable insight into financial literacy generally and how value is judged in the business world as a whole.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It provides a framework. Okay, so that gives us a really solid overview. Now, for you listening, having had this peek into how professionals figure out what a company's worth, w- what other parts of business finance make you curious about how value gets decided? Something to think about.
Definitely food for thought.
Thanks for diving in with us today.